Sorry.
Please hold.
There we go. Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Tyson. We have taken kind of your instructions at the last meeting to identify a map drawer, and I wanted to introduce John Morgan to you this morning. Mr. Morgan, I'll let him introduce himself in a minute here. He has a lot of experience both in Virginia and in drawing maps across the country. He's drawing in a variety of states for different commissions right now. And so he is our recommendation from the Republican side to serve as the Republican map drawer here. Like I said, I'll let him introduce himself, but we've discussed, and he is ready to work collaboratively with whatever system the commission wants to undertake in terms of the design process of how we're going to go about this. He's done a variety of different things in different states in terms of working with their commissions, and we can kind of discuss the best way moving forward, but wanted to let him introduce himself to you briefly. That's all right.
Thank you, Brian. Good morning, Commissioners. I must say I did not expect to be here, but I'm happy to be here. Again, my name is John Morgan. I am from Indiana. I grew up in a small town right outside Chicago, Lake Michigan. I graduated from South Lakes High School in Reston, Virginia, and I currently live in Springfield. I've had, I guess I'd say this is my fourth redistricting cycle. I worked in the 91 cycle. I worked in the 2001 cycle and the 2011 redistricting cycle, so this is my fourth cycle. In Virginia, I worked in 2001 for the Majority Leader Morgan Griffith's staff, and I also worked with the state Senate at that time. In 2011, I worked primarily with the House of Delegates with Delegate Chris Jones at that time. I've done redistricting work in 20 states. I've also visited, I've traveled to 49 states and about 60% of the counties of the United States. That's kind of a hobby of mine. I'm here. I am ready to work for you at the direction of the attorneys and the commission. I've, again, had a lot of redistricting experience. When I go to bed at night, I see precincts and counties and things like that. I'm used to that. It'll be challenging, but I'm here and I'm certain I can help you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And Mr. Hebert, well, first of all, Mr. Hebert, welcome. This is the first time we've had the pleasure of seeing you in person. So if you want to maybe introduce yourself as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Jerry Hebert. I'm a Democratic counsel to the commission. This is my 6th decade of redistricting. I'm one of the older people in the room, starting in the 70s, and I spent 21 years in the Justice Department as in the voting rights section. I served in many capacities there, including acting chief of the section, deputy chief in charge of litigation, redistricting and voting rights nationwide for over 20 years. And then since 1994, I've had a solo practice focusing just on voting rights and redistricting. We have retained haystack DNA, HASTAQ DNA, as a redistricting map drawer. Their CEO, Ken Strasma, is on the phone. And Ken, can you confirm you're on the phone?
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Ken has over 3 decades of experience in redistricting, and Haystack and its sister company, Strategic Telemetry, has helped independent commissions, advocacy groups, law firms, and others to create fair redistricting maps. In 2010, they served as mapping consultants to the Arizona Independent Redistricting Commission, helping the commission there create the first set of maps in Arizona's history to receive DOJ preclearance on the first try. The commission's congressional and legislative maps in Arizona remained unchanged for the full 10-year cycle. They also work closely in Florida with the Fair Districts Now group that was responsible for the redistricting constitutional amendment in Florida, saying that no plans can be drawn that favor one side or disfavor another side, similar to the criteria here. And they help redraw some of the districts that were eventually struck down as illegal in Florida there. Ken, do you care to add any other details about your qualifications?
I would like to say it's an honor to be here, and I hope we can help with this process. Like Mr. Morgan, I echo, I did not expect to be here coming in late to this process, but we have a large and experienced team and ready to hit the ground running. As Mr. Hebert said, my firm and I personally have a considerable amount of experience. This is also my fourth decade. Started in legislative redistricting in 1990, and worked with the various different commissions and other clients in the decades since. And look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Ken. Madam Chair, I have a second person on the phone that I would like to at least introduce, and it relates to the next item on the agenda, actually. Moon Duchin is with the redistricting lab at Tufts University. Hopefully she has made it on the phone. Moon, are you on the phone?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Great. I wanted to have Moon on the phone because I initially approached the redistricting lab as a possible map drawer for the commission. However, the redistricting lab is a purely nonpartisan organization, and so they didn't really want to be aligned with one side or the other. However, they have been doing some cutting-edge work on how to draw maps from scratch. Essentially, and I'm going to dramatically oversimplify this just so you'll get a flavor of it, they can take the criteria, multi-criteria, and they can layer it one on top of the other and look at how adding those criteria changes the maps. Ms. Duchin has indicated to me that she would be willing to serve as a consultant to both map drawers on both sides to kind of give them the benefit of her expertise. And I asked her about whether she could do that within the 4 to 5 weeks we have left on this round, and she indicated she could. Moon, could you elaborate on this just real quickly, because we want to probably go to the second item on the agenda?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. So the idea is to provide a service that I hope would be useful to all parties in this process, and that is to use, as you said, cutting-edge methods of algorithmic generation of districting plans, where we can supply large numbers of maps that have desired features. So I'd be very interested to work with both teams, with all parties, to sort of help understand how to operationalize the criteria, make maps that have interesting combinations of properties, layer in the criteria, as you said, and help to assess draft maps by the lights of your own criteria. This is similar to work that I'm currently doing with the People's Maps Commission in Wisconsin, and relates to published work over the past few years, including a piece in the Virginia Policy Review specifically about Virginia's criteria. So I hope this might be of interest to all parties.
Thank you, Moon. Madam Chair, I raised this issue with my counsel for the Republican side. Yesterday or the day before, I asked Moon to get in touch with the expert map drawer for the Republican side and with our side, and she has done so. I'm not going to speak for their side, other than to say that I don't think anybody believes that this would not be helpful to both map drawers. And Ms. Duchin has indicated to me that she would do it at a what I would consider to be more than a reasonable fee for the month, certainly much less than you're paying counsel. Any questions?
Thank you for that. And I would like to open it up to the commissioners. If you have any questions